Hi, this is Seth. Welcome back. I'm making content because I'm changing laptop from a 2018 MacBook Pro to a 2020 13-inch Apple Silicon MacBook Pro. And I am anticipating that I'll have to wait for the new computer to be built. Today, I'm talking about why I started a YouTube channel. First off, I'm going to talk about what wasn't. I didn't do it for the fame or the money. Then why did I do it? I did it because I have cerebral palsy and I'm a filmmaker. We'll get into this part a little bit later. My film was called Half Dollar Life. Cerebral palsy is one of the biggest physical disabilities in the world, yet no one knows about it. For instance, I had a really good school experience. I went to public school. Basically, no one picked on me and everyone liked me, which is very strange if you have a disability, because normally, from what I'm told, my friends who have disabilities, it doesn't usually work out that way. Pushed around in the lockers, you get pushed down the stairs, you get teased about how your voice doesn't sound like everyone else's voice, that kind of thing, and you don't have very many friends, if any at all. And the only way that I can combat these things that people do is by informing people about my life with cerebral palsy, what I can and I can't do, my triumphs and my failures. And the end goal is I want people to see people with disabilities as people and not disabilities. I'm not going to talk about any other disabilities like people who have visual or hearing impairments, because I don't have that type of disability, so I really don't know about them firsthand. I've only heard about stories from my friends who have those disabilities, and I don't own the stories to their lives, like they don't own my stories. I have no right to talk about them and what they experience from a first-hand basis. From kindergarten to 12th grade, there were two of us with cerebral palsy. Both of us attended classes with non-disabled students because we were around when our school didn't have a special ed room, and we were fortunate enough to be able to keep up a classroom with the other kids. After I graduated from high school, I started in college at Keene State. It's the New Hampshire State School. I met a lot of people with different disabilities, and that was fun because I only knew about cerebral palsy, and it was a mind-opening experience. I wrote for the daily newspaper as an intern during my freshman and sophomore summers, and this is unusual because normally people who write for a paper don't do when they're 19 or 20. After that, I wrote for the vice president for student affairs till I graduated from undergrad. Alongside with my student affairs job, I took English and film classes and all the other classes that I don't use today, like sciences, and I work as a note taker. Note taker is a person who goes to class, and I wouldn't even know who I was taking notes for because that isn't the point. That is, just take the notes, hand them in, and they get to the student who needs them. I don't need to out anyone who needs notes. Being a note taker was fun because of two reasons. One, I got paid to take notes and help people out because I took notes during all of my classes, of course. And number two, I got to broaden other students' perspectives. It was funny to see them do double takes. Wait, he's a note taker, but he has a disability. It's just a job, man. It's just a job. When I was applying to Dartmouth for my master's, I was wondering what I was going to write as a personal statement. In my program, you had to write a personal statement and that what you thought you wanted to achieve during your time in the master's program that I was in. It's not like going to business school or getting an engineering master's degree. It was more liberal studies writing type of master's degree. And I was putting it off, and the deadline was quickly approaching. One night I was watching Diagnosis Murder, the show with Dick Van Dyke, who's a doctor who solves crimes. And the show was a bad ripoff of one of my favorite films, The Usual Suspects. And in this episode of Diagnosis Murder, they had this guy who was supposed to have cerebral palsy or fake having cerebral palsy, and he falls apart on the witness stand. And it was done much worse than in The Usual Suspect. It was a similar situation, but it was just botched because apparently people don't know that I can't take this off. I can't take cerebral palsy off. Stevie Wonder can't take blindness off. It's just a ridiculous decision. I was enraged because, like I said, I can't turn this off. Person with a hearing disability can't turn it off either because if we would, we would. The sympathy vote isn't that great. Oh, poor you. It isn't that great. So I pounded out my personal statement on the need for more characters with disabilities in film and TV, so people can have a more accurate picture of what it's like to have a disability. And this master's degree happened in 1998, so it was before Speechless, it was before Breaking Bad, so before those characters who have cerebral palsy. It was after Life Goes On with a family who has a family member with Down syndrome, and that's what my focus was at Dartmouth. I would write scripts, and not always about me having cerebral palsy, but just different scripts and getting down screenwriting and what I wrote stories, like book form stories, and it was really fun. A few years after I graduated, I wrote a script about a guy with cerebral palsy who wanted to find a girlfriend because it's a natural story. It's not like, I want to be a jet fighter pilot. It's perceived to be an accomplishment that you can actually accomplish. I wrote, directed, casted, and produced that film because I want people to know that people with disabilities are people too. We have the same hopes and dreams. My first post on YouTube was in 2010, but I was nervous because of my voice. Can you blame me? I have to transcribe myself for every single wrong I do. My second post was called Shaving with Shampoo in 2015 after I came back from vacationing in Russia and Hawaii. I really wish I had vlogged in Hawaii and Russia because those are two experiences that most people will never have. And I finally committed to YouTube in April 2017 with disability content because I still want to help people. And then I started mixing in movie reviews, but I thought it was a bigger draw than disability content because, the movie drives the content rather than me sitting here talking about a movie I made 15 years ago. In 2020, I shifted back towards disability content because the movie theaters had all shut down. This is November and I haven't seen a movie in the theater since March, I think. If you want to hear more about Half Dollar Life, I can make a vlog or a couple of them because it was a really long process and it was really mind-bending. It's not a Hollywood caliber film, it's just an independent film that I made and it's not a Hollywood film. But I just wanted to have a story where there's a little twist where you replace a guy who would be in the movie falling in love with a woman with me because I thought it would be an interesting premise. I can make a vlog or a couple of them if you want. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And have a great day.